Good afternoon, guys. It's Workin bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at Bitcoin to the US dollars as the one-day chart, and I wanted to start off with the, I think we said we were looking at the daily chart here. I wanted to start off with the weekly chart. There we go. I wanted to start off with the weekly chart, guys. Bitcoin, obviously, as I've been telling you guys, I told you in my last update that we had reached a point to where Bitcoin had to make a decision. In fact, I titled my last update decision point, and there was no question that was the case. We were reaching this area where we had this major line of descending resistance line, guys, that was converging with, of course, our wedge right here, where price was getting squeezed tighter and tighter, the top of that wedge, and also perhaps arguably the most important resistance area, which is that 4120 zone, that top on price, that 4120 resistance that price had to get through. We were all converging on three areas of resistance there, and price either was going to, very likely, probability-wise, was going to break out hard, either to the upside or to the downside. And of course, in this case, we had almost $1,000 move where price did end up breaking up. So good win for the bulls. This is a battle that has been won. This is certainly not the war that has been won yet, guys. So this is a cautionary video, guys. Be very, very careful. I drew this out. Actually, I've drawn this out numerous times. The last time was on my last update. But this area right here between 5,000 and approximately 5,750, somewhere thereabouts, guys. This is an extremely relevant zone, as I've told you in the past, simply because as price came up here, this was our area of major rejection. In other words, major resistance, right at approximately 5,000. This goes back to August of 2017, where we had a rejection. Price came back down, and then of course price had to come back up and break through this area hard, and it took a while to break through this area. In other words, it took 3 weeks to decisively break through this area, and finally it did break up above, and what was resistance started acting as support here, created a very relevant demand zone right here between 5,000 and approximately 5,750, and what was resistance started acting as support, and then just took off. Came back down here again, acted as support once again on top of that zone here, and basically bounced on top of that zone for all of 2018. I'm bringing this up because, guys, I pointed this out last time that this was going to be a critical zone to get above, and it's no coincidence that as price broke up, that's exactly where it found resistance. It was rejected hard right off at approximately 5,100-ish, somewhere thereabouts, guys. So this is a very relevant zone that we have to get above if this thing is going to continue. And again, I'd be very careful of a possible bull trap, guys. I know no one wants to hear this. I know FOMO is taking over. Everybody wants to jump in. But in my opinion, this is a no trade zone. You should not be trading this. Again, not financial advice. Do what you want to do. But in my opinion, guys, do not trade this right now. I would just sit back and wait and see how price is going to, how this is going to work out. If this is a bull trap, this is the area where it's going to get rejected, guys. If we go swing high, swing low off of this breakdown right here, we can see that we're reaching that area. It's no coincidence that this area right there between the 6.5 fib or 618 and the 6.5 fib level, known as the golden pocket, is sitting right in the middle of that zone, guys. And this is the area that has to get cleared in order for algos to switch in the other direction. So we've got to get above, and what I mean by that is there's a lot of bots that you're trading against. Typically, once you break above that golden pocket, algos switch from picking targets down here and looking for a bounce here and a target down here, to they switch from looking for a bounce here and a target up here, and that's a critical switch. So until we get above that, guys, we haven't really, we haven't crossed that major threshold just yet. So this is going to be a critical zone to get above, and again, we're not there yet. So I think this is a watch and wait and see how this plays out. Another interesting point, looking at the weekly RSI, we can see going back to December of 2015. Really the beginning of 2016, we can see that this area right here, approximately 53, acted as a rather strong resistance, or excuse me, strong support. And then it finally broke down below that support, and what was support started acting as resistance in February of 2018. And it's basically been resistance ever since. I bring this up because we're just now reaching that area of resistance. So if we were going to get rejected, if this is a bull trap, again, this is also another piece of evidence that suggests that we're reaching that area where we could get a strong rejection. And if that bull trap is validated, where price ends up breaking down and breaking down hard. Looking at the weekly MACD, again, I pointed this out many times, but looking at point to point, obviously price created a lower high. If you look at the MACD at the exact same point, MACD on histogram, this is again on the weekly, created a higher high. That is obvious, this being a downtrend, that's going to be hidden divergence, and in this case, that's hidden bearish divergence, also suggests a possible breakdown in price, also suggesting that this could be a bull trap. Doesn't mean that it is, just means be very careful, guys, and more evidence to suggest sit back and wait and see how this ends up playing out. Now, anytime you have a major resistance that gets broken through, guys, anytime you have that, probability tells you that you're going to come back down and retest that resistance. And what you want to see is obviously that resistance to start act as support. So this area at 4120-ish, you know, somewhere thereabouts, guys, 4120, 4200-ish, somewhere thereabouts. Again, that's on Coinbase, or even on Bitstamp in this case. Some of the other exchanges like Bitfinex, it'll be a little bit higher, but it does suggest that, you know, we may see a retesting of that zone. And this would be if you're going to buy, that would be the time to get in. When we retest, you know, 42, even maybe 4,300, that would be the time to get in, watching for a bounce off that zone. Certainly not right now. Not right now at all, guys. So again, the probability-wise, I think price is going to come back down and at least retest this zone down here, at least retest the tops of these wicks, which would at least be about 43.50-ish, if not lower, all the way down to that 41.20 zone. Now, as I discussed in length on my last update, guys, this move was certainly not surprising, with the degree at which was, you know, the degree at which was a little bit surprising, but the break up was certainly not surprising, guys. We had shorts stacking like this. I warned you on the last update, guys, if shorts continue to stack the way they are, and they did, and longs continue to fall, which longs, if we come back here and we look at longs, slowly started to rise here. So it was a little bit that we're getting some mixed signals there, but the degree to which shorts were stacking, you know, it was just unquestionable. So that was setting up for a major short squeeze, and of course that's what we saw. We saw that major short squeeze, shorts getting liquidated, and we also saw people taking profits on their longs. That was this drop right here, profit take, which is a healthy sign. But now we're seeing longs start to stack, and we're seeing shorts just falling off the board here just rapidly. If this does continue, just like this was a recipe, short stacking and longs dropping were a recipe for a short squeeze, price to rise up. If this continues with shorts falling and longs rising, that's a recipe for price to what? Liquidate longs and end up falling right back down. So again, monitor your longs versus shorts, guys, and take all that into account when you're analyzing where your entry point is going to be, or even if you're going to enter. All right, zooming back out on the weekly, looking at our moving averages and Bollinger Bands here, we can see that we did break above the 21-day EMA. Excuse me, not the 21-day, the 21 weekly EMA. If we can close above there, I do think that'd be a very bullish sign of strength. We're a long way away from closing there quite yet, guys. Still quite a few days in the week left. But right now we are above that, and that is a bullish sign. Of course, we had our Bollinger Bands that were constricting on the weekly. Anytime you see Bollinger Bands constricting this to this degree and getting this tight, as we talked about over my last few updates, that was not only, you know, the fact that we were up against major resistance areas, but, you know, also this tightening of the Bollinger Bands was suggesting a major move was to come, and of course we're seeing that now. To the downside, we have a lot of support on this 200-week moving average that's sitting down here at approximately 3,400-ish. I do think if this is a bull trap and we do end up breaking down, I think that 200-day moving average would be a very strong support. If not, maybe wicking down to this prior low. I don't see us going below this prior low of about 3,150 if we do end up breaking down, guys. So just kind of an FYI, if we do break that point, that would be, if we ever see this area, in my opinion, a very good time to, this would be a very good logical area to enter into a trade. I'm not saying we're ever going to get down there yet, guys. I'm just saying, you know, I'm kind of thinking out loud here as I'm watching this chart. But right now, guys, things are looking, as I said, things are looking pretty good. I'm watching this 8 weekly moving average, or excuse me, 8 exponential moving average, 8 EMA, 8 weekly EMA. I'm watching that to see if it can cross above this 21-week EMA. If that does happen, guys, that's a very bullish sign of strength. Anytime you get the 8-period moving exponential moving average crossing above the 21-period exponential moving average, it's a very bullish sign. And certainly on the higher the time frame, so especially on a weekly chart, it's an extremely bullish sign. So let's wait and see if they can continue. Again, we're not there yet, nowhere near, but it's certainly, the trajectory is there, and we'll have to wait and see if that can continue. Now, one of the things that's concerning me, guys, is it's obvious that this move happened in about 1 hour. If we zoom in here on the 30-minute chart, guys, and we look at volume, we can see that this move, it all happened in about a 1 hour period. So that, it definitely shows you that very likely this is a lot of manipulation. We know without question that this was a short squeeze. And of course, anytime you see short stacking like this, market makers have the incentive to liquidate those shorts. To liquidate those shorts, they drive price up. So as you drive price up, those shorts hit their stop losses and they've got to cover those shorts. How do you cover a short? Well, you've got to buy. So basically, you've got people covering their short positions, pushing price up even further, and then of course you have the FOMO factor pushing price up even further here. But you also have a lot of people in the last couple months have invested into altcoins. As price pushed up here, what happened with those altcoins? Well, excuse me, those altcoins hit their targets. And so typically, not always, but oftentimes when you're trading into an altcoin, you're trading with BTC. You're using a BTC pair. And so when you hit your take profit level, what do? You transfer from that altcoin back into BTC. So in other words, you buy BTC, you buy Bitcoin. And so that also accounts for a lot of this price spike. So it's really going to be telling whether or not this can continue. And right now, guys, I mean, I have to be completely honest. My gut tells me that this may, in fact, be a bull trap. We'll have to wait and see how this ends up playing out. But I need to see a daily candle. I want to see the daily candle close at least above 4,500 here, and then I need to see a daily candle open and close above that 4,500 here. That would be a very bullish sign. I'll accept at least the bare minimum. We've got to stay above 4,120. Minimum, we've got to stay above 4,120 there, guys. And that 4,120, as I said before, that's a decent area. If we do come back down to retest that zone, and probability tells us that we will at least come back down to retest the top of these wicks here, which is approximately 4,300 to 4,250. Probability tells us we will have a retest of that area, and we need to see a strong bounce off of that area. And that would be a logical area to slowly enter into a scalp trade somewhere between 4,300 to 4,120-ish, somewhere thereabouts, guys. That'd be a very logical area to look for a bounce. But I want to see at least a daily candle open and close above this zone, preferably above 4,540. Excuse me, guys. But yeah, preferably above 4,540. But really, guys, we've got to see us clear that golden pocket. Remember, as I showed you on the weekly chart, guys, that golden pocket is located right there at approximately 5,200-ish, somewhere thereabouts. Where with this area, we can see that this acted as support right back here, and of course now it's very likely going to act as a strong resistance. No question or no coincidence that it rejected very close to that area. So that area that I was discussing, guys, between about 5,000 and 5,750, that is going to be a key area that Bitcoin has to get above. Now again, if we can continue to huddle right below there without a major rejection, okay, that'd be a bullish sign, and I do believe that does happen, that we're going to, very likely there's a good chance that it's going to set up a lot of pressure to just crush through that area the way that we did that 4,120 resistance here. But that's a big if. We'll have to wait and see kind of how the next few days unfold. It's certainly going to be very interesting. But if we get another a retesting of that 5,000 to 5,200 zone anywhere near this golden pocket and get another strong rejection off that zone, guys, again, beware of the bull trap, guys. Beware of the bull trap, because there's no question that there was a lot of manipulation here. You don't get a move like that inside of an hour that happens without there being a lot of manipulation. Looking at our daily indicators, we can see that the daily RSI is very overbought, sitting at about 85, again suggesting at least some consolidation, if not a little further downside. And if we look at let me get rid of this RSI. If we look at the daily MACD, we go point to point here. Obviously, price created a higher high. If we go from the exact same point, looking at the histogram, price created a lower high. Of course, this being an uptrend here, that's just regular divergence, in this case bearish divergence. And again, that does suggest a breakdown in price, at least somewhat. Now, this strong rejection right here, that could account for that breakdown in price. I think that we have a little bit further to go. I need to see at least a retesting of 4,540. I think I'd be a lot more comfortable if we retested that, guys. And I do think that very probability-wise, if we are going to retest that, doesn't mean we have to. It just means probability-wise we will. But right now, guys, yeah, looking at our indicators, especially here on the daily, it does look like we've got some more downside to go. So we'll have to wait and see if we can close above that 4,540. If how the next couple days end up panning out, and how strong of a bounce we get when we do get that retest, if and when we do get that retest. if this does end up being a bull trap, guys, in my opinion, of course, the tell-all will be a retesting of 4120. If that ends up breaking down, I think it'll be, if we break down to this time below 4120, I think that's going to be enough momentum to carry us below our 3900 support and below our 3800 support. And at that point, guys, I think we're going to be coming down to at least 3600, if not this 3550 support down here. My max downside, I think, as I told you before, is going to be this prior low. I don't see us going below this prior low here, so I think the max downside, at least on Coinbase, is going to be approximately 3150. Again, if this is a bull trap, and that's a big if, but I think likely I'm looking at a bounce off of 3600 if 4120 does end up breaking down. All that being said, guys, this is a very bullish overall. This is, even if this is a bull trap, this is a much needed move, regardless of how this ends up playing out. This is a much needed move on our way to ending the bull market. The bull market may be over. This might be it, or we may end up coming back down for another retest. Either way, guys, this is critical in ending the bull market. If it does end up coming back down, it's going to get rid of all the guys that are FOMOing into all this, and we need to get those guys out of the market. In my opinion, guys, that may be what we need to get to get those guys out of the market to continue up higher. So again, it's not necessarily a bad thing if we do end up breaking down here. I'm not saying we're going to. I'm just saying that this is a good sign overall for the market, even if we do end up coming down. This is going to quicken the bull run. The bull run will be coming much quicker due to this move, in my opinion, regardless of how this ends up playing out. We're also seeing record volume, as I was saying, guys. We're sitting at about 17.6 billion on the day. That's record volume certainly for 2019, but really that's very close to record volume even for certainly in the last year, but even for 2018. It's very close. I think we did have volume like this in January of 2018, but it has been since January of 2018, so almost, what is that, almost a year and 3 months since we've seen volume this high. So again, this is a very, very good sign that this move is a very, very good sign overall in the market. So how am I playing this, guys? I'm completely out, except other than my long-term hold portfolio where I hold a ton of BTC. But I mean, as far as my trading, I'm not trading BTC right now. I'm going to wait and see how this ends up playing out. I've got buy orders stacked down here between 4,300 all the way down to about 4,100 with a tight stop loss, knowing that if 4,100 breaks down, as I said, I think it'll be a quick drop to 3,600 down here. But right now, guys, I'm out. I'm waiting to see how the market or how this ends up playing out, guys. And it's going to be a very interesting next few days. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things there. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, I would appreciate an upvote if you have enjoyed this content. Till next time, guys, please trade safe. Take care of yourselves. This is